Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Right now at 5, the Senate acquits former President Trump in his second impeachment trial. Reaction from Washington as Congress turns to COVID relief. Plus, the latest on the effort to recall Governor Gavin Newsom. A senior advisor says they have enough signatures to get it on the ballot. What comes next and some of the names being floated to potentially run against him. And 56 days, that's how long it's been since 2 little boys are reported missing from California City. Now, a new strategy from the biological family to get people's attention and learn what happened to the brothers. This is Monday, February 15th, 2021. Good morning. I'm Nicole Gitsky, filling in for Alex Fisher this morning. Maddie is in the studio.
Hi, good morning, Nicole. Thank you for joining us. And she'll have some more news in just a few minutes. But first, we're talking about your forecast. And Kevin has a look at that as we kick off another work week. Kev?
Well, it was a pretty nice weekend, Maddie, and this morning we've got more cloud cover around the area, and we're seeing a little bit of drizzle up in the Tehachapi area as well, along with the wind. So today's going to be a little bit different as we show you the satellite and radar. It's not picking up much on radar, and I'm not expecting much, but we definitely have the clouds around the area. And you can see a few of these little pockets on radar. That might be a few sprinkles and maybe a little bit of a drizzle as well. But you can see downtown Bakersfield, it is dry. We've got a temperature right now of 50 degrees under a calm wind. As we take a look at the day here, we are expecting clouds to start. We may see some sun breaks throughout the afternoon, and we'll see a relatively light wind for the valley. We're seeing some winds out in the desert along the 58. Those winds will be around most of today, and you can see the wind advisory in place for the western side of Kern County. That would include areas like Lost Hills, McKittrick, Buttonwillow, Wasco, where we could see a little bit of a breeze throughout the afternoon, and that will include the mountain areas as well. So the wind advisory in place until tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Here's a look at Tehachapi. The camera is moving, the Adventist Health Cam here, and one thing you'll notice at the street lights, you would think it was raining. We're getting a little bit of drizzle out of these low-lying clouds that you've got out of the Tehachapi area. 36 degrees and a west-southwest wind at 22. Visibility is okay at 7 miles. And as you take a look at the hour by hour, you can see those winds will be blowing throughout the day, and temperatures expected into the 40s. I'll have much more in your forecast coming your way in just a little bit. For now, back to you.
All right, thanks, Kev. In Washington, lawmakers are taking a break between impeachment and COVID relief, publicly reacting to the weekend acquittal of former President Trump and privately working to get $1,400 stimulus payments in your hands. Tracy Potts has a report this morning from Washington.
Hi, Maddie. Good morning, everyone. 7 Republicans voted with Democrats to convict former President Trump, and though that was unprecedented, it was not enough. He was acquitted. And so now Congress is moving on to deal with this COVID crisis that's gripping the nation. The U.S. Senate is taking a break this week, considering the fallout of acquitting former President Trump and where that leaves the Republican Party.
We need to unite the party. Trump plus is the way back in 2022.
I think our leadership will be different going forward.
Democrats now turning to COVID relief, writing up details for a vote next week.
If a month from now, as unemployment checks are at the verge of stopping for 10 million Americans, we can proceed with a Democrat-only bill.
Their proposal includes billions for schools, which the CDC says should be spent on ventilation. The agency says that, plus wearing masks and vaccinating teachers, should get kids safely back to class.
We know that it's possible to reopen schools safely without all of the teachers being vaccinated.
Vice President Harris tells Axios the administration was left with no national strategy.
We're starting from scratch on something that's been raging for almost an entire year.
The U.S. is now halfway to President Biden's goal of 100 million vaccinations in 100 days. President Biden also wants Congress to go back and deal with gun violence. He put out a statement on the 3rd anniversary of the Parkland school shooting this weekend, calling for universal background checks, an assault weapons ban, and limiting liability protection for gun manufacturers. I'm Tracy Potts, 17 News.
Making news around the state this weekend, those behind the effort to recall Governor Gavin Newsom say they have collected the number of signatures needed to get a special election on the ballot. Now, a senior advisor to the recall effort confirmed they had gathered a little over 1.5 million signatures. Saturday, organizers held a Recall Newsom pop-up event in the parking lot of the Hobby Lobby off California Avenue. Supporters say he has not done a good job during the pandemic.
This governor he has not released the vaccines well. He has not opened up the state well. Let us play the children with sports. I mean, you got NFL doing Super Bowl.
Those signatures will still need to be verified by the Secretary of State's office. The group says they will continue gathering signatures up until the mid-March deadline. Newsom's former gubernatorial rival John Cox and former San Diego Mayor Kevin Falconer have already said they would enter the race for governor if the recall goes to a vote. And switching gears now to the latest on the coronavirus pandemic here at home. Kern County saw a small drop in hospitalization patients with yesterday's COVID-19 update. Now, the Kern Public Health Department announced 265 new cases with no new deaths reported. After Saturday's update, nearly 700 people have now died from COVID-19. We've had over 100,000 total cases. According to the state health department, 232 people are hospitalized with COVID-19, 11 fewer patients than it was reported on Saturday. 51 COVID patients are being treated in the ICU. And Kern County's mass vaccination site at the fairgrounds will continue providing shots this week. And if you want to get your first or second dose of the vaccine, you can make an appointment starting tomorrow at 8 a.m. Now, doses will begin being administered Wednesday and last through Saturday. Kern Public Health says vaccine supply remains extremely limited, so try to book your appointment as soon as you can. Right now, it's walk-up only, but soon Public Health will open the vaccination up to drive-through when vaccine supplies increase. And to make your appointment, just call 868-0165 starting tomorrow. And a reminder, there are other places besides the fairgrounds that are offering vaccines. You can visit Kern Public Health's website for an interactive map of vaccine providers near you. Then call one of those sites to make an appointment. Just head to kernpublichealth.com.
The COVID-19 vaccine is now available in CVS pharmacies, including those here in Bakersfield. The vaccines are being administered by appointment only in select stores and given according to eligibility guidelines. Pharmacists, pharmacy assistants, and nurses are all trained to administer the vaccine, according to the drugstore chain. They add that their pharmacy locations are prepared for cold storage of the vaccine as well. Appointments can be made on the CVS website or by calling customer service. As of news time, appointments in Bakersfield are fully booked, but CVS says they're working to add more appointments to our area. For more information, just head to cvs.com and click on the Get COVID-19 Vaccine Info tab. The University of Oxford plans to test its COVID-19 vaccine in children for the first time, becoming the latest vaccine developer to assess whether its coronavirus shot is effective in young people. The chief researcher of the Oxford vaccine trial says that while most children don't get severely ill from COVID-19, it's important to establish the immune response of those who might benefit from the shot. Experts say the Oxford trial should help policymakers decide whether they want to extend mass vaccination programs to children as they seek to ensure schools are safe.
We know that with all vaccines that people can feel a bit unwell in the first few days, and so we just need to be able to establish that profile in children, and so that if the vaccine was authorized for a wider age range, then parents and the young people can be in full knowledge of exactly what side effects they might expect.
Regulators in more than 50 countries have authorized widespread use of the Oxford vaccine, which is being produced and distributed by AstraZeneca for use in people over the age of 18. Meantime, the CDC is providing some new guidance on how to have children safely return to in-person instruction. The agency is suggesting 5 key strategies. Those include mask wearing, physical distancing, hand washing, cleaning and maintaining healthy facilities, and contact tracing, isolation, and quarantining. The CDC said proper use of masks and maintaining at least 6 feet of distance should be mandatory for all students, teachers, and staff. The report also states that vaccination should not be a requirement for reopening schools, but strongly encourages communities to give teachers and staff high priority in vaccine distribution.
And if you have the day off, it might be a good time to get your child caught up on immunizations. Adventist Health Bakersfield is holding a free immunization clinic at the Walmart on Gosford Road. It's happening from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Don't forget to bring your child's immunization card. It's free for anyone 18 and younger, but call ahead for any child you bring who is older than 5. That number to call is 869-6740. There are still more clinics happening through the rest of the month. You can find a list of dates and locations on our website, kget.com.
Welcome back here at 5:13. A clever European grandfather built a Valentine's Day treat for his grandkids, a floating carousel made of ice. The granddad lives in Estonia near the Baltic Sea. A lake there is frozen over and the ice is so thick that Aunt Alla got the idea to cut the ice in a circle, attach a small outboard motor, and make it spin. The ice carousel is 39 feet across and weighs, he says, 24 tons. Alla said that he wanted to create something to get his grandchildren outdoors and off the computer, and by the looks of things, the scheme worked.
As we are living in countryside and we are visited by our grandchildren, so there is needed to figure out some activity outside, away from the computers. So that's the reason why I built, together with my grandson, the carousel here.
How fun, and also, how? It's just so crazy. Alla has to remake part of the carousel every day because below freezing temperatures cause the water portion to freeze overnight. Wow. Welcome back here at 5:20. Making news around the nation this morning. People in South Florida spent yesterday remembering the 17 lives lost there 3 years ago at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland. On February 14th, 2018, a former student shot and killed 14 students and 3 staff members. An additional 17 people were wounded. Mourners gathered in Corral Springs for a memorial event at Eagles Haven, a community center dedicated to those who died in the shooting. A commemoration ceremony was also hosted by the city of Parkland.
It's always a heavy day. We think about the ones we lost. We think about the impact that it's had on not just our lives, but on the community at large. And it's important to honor the ones we lost, but also take care of ourselves.
Since the shooting, student survivors have become gun control activists, lobbying lawmakers and organizers of massive March for Our Lives demonstrations. A public viewing for actress Cicely Tyson will take place today. The Emmy and Tony Award winner died January 28th at the age of 96. In a statement, her family said a viewing will be held at a Baptist church in Harlem.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
In your 17 Business Watch, Chevy has expanded its electric vehicle portfolio with the all-new 2022 Bolt EUV. Now, the Bolt electric utility vehicle has the body of an SUV, but runs on the technology that made the Bolt EV the industry's first affordable long-range electric vehicle. Both are part of General Motors' plan to launch 30 new electric vehicles globally by 2025. The Bolt EUV will also be the first Chevrolet vehicle to offer Super Cruise, a hands-free driver assistance program for enabled roads. The 2022 Bolt EUV starts at just about $34,000.
Small businesses have taken a beating during the pandemic, and now business owners are doing everything they can to attract and retain customers. For some, that means always being available, no matter the time or the place. NBC's Chris Pallone explains.
Virginia business owner Buddy Smith has a job that's almost more important than the heating and air conditioning service his company provides, attracting and keeping customers.
People want what they want, and they want it now.
Today, customers want to call, text, email, or even send Facebook messages to businesses whenever they think about it from wherever they are.
Research shows that 70% of consumers will buy from the first business that interacts with them.
Enter software companies like Freshline, which sell programs that can answer simple customer questions around the clock.
What our platform does is it brings all of those conversations and all of those messages into a single inbox.
Jay Bean came up with the idea after texting a plumber he had hired before, and the plumber never responded to him.
If they lack the fundamental need, the fundamental components that allow that consumer to interact with them wherever they are, whenever they're there, then they're missing out on 90% of the opportunity.
Buddy Smith says in the past, his customer service reps were great at answering and returning calls, but were not regularly checking all their social media channels and emails. Now all messages come straight to them without having to log in to several separate services.
So they're on notice right away that there's someone that they need to respond to.
Owners are finding that investing in tools which make their customer service as accessible as the big boys can really pay off.
So it's nice to have technology and to have a third party help you through that process.
Meeting customers where they are, when they want, and how they want to talk to you. Good business in the age of COVID. Chris Pallone, NBC News.
And now to our continued coverage of the two missing boys from California City. It's been 56 days since 3-year-old Orson and 4-year-old Oren West were reported missing in California City. But the biological family has not given up hope. 17's Perla Shaheen has this story.
If you're driving south on Highway 99, you might see two familiar faces, those of 3-year-old Orson and 4-year-old Oren West.
It's heartbreaking to see their faces up there because they're babies. They shouldn't be missing. Their faces shouldn't be on a billboard at all. They should be with their family.
Child Protective Services took the boys from the biological family in 2018 and placed them with the West family. They were living in California City when their adoptive father reported them missing on December 21st.
I hope that someone come through and tell us where they are, or at least guide us to where they are. What happened? We just need the answers.
The biological family started a GoFundMe to raise money for 3 billboards.
Not everybody's on social media, and not everybody watches the news, so, I mean, maybe somebody that's traveling could see it, and you might get a tip. You know, you never know who might know something.
Wills says they've received donations from all over the world.
It's actually keeping it alive in people's minds and hearts. Like, you just never know if they're still out there or not. We have to stand on faith. Don't let our hope die. So it just keeps us going.
Within a week, they raised enough money for 2 billboards, but they still need more than $1,000 to put up a third one.
Right now, we're able to get 2 billboards. This one, the digital one, and then we have one coming up next week. It's going to be off Mount Vernon, going east.
People all over Kern County are working hard to find the boys.
Making shirts, making masks, sending flyers to the different states so people can put it in their state. On Facebook all the time, sending prayers out for the boys, just keeping it alive, because at the end of the day, it's in God's hand.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.